What's up, ladies? I'm Cerebral, and this is Cerebral Talks TV. And I have a little list that I've made. The top 10 reasons, 10 to 11 reasons, really, why Black women should stop being single mothers, should stop the out of wedlock births and all of that. Listen very closely, okay? First, I want to say, because I know what might come from this, and yes, I have my notes right here. I'm not telling you not to have kids. I repeat, I'm not telling you not to have children. Okay? I've already said it before. Once you start getting up there in age, you have to think about children more. A woman can't go back in time and make children. We're not men. We don't have sperm. You can still have a baby as long as you have a menstrual cycle, but there is certain ages where you really think about having a child, okay? And I don't believe in putting pressure on a young woman to have a baby, especially with the wrong man. But it is something you have to think about, okay? Also, I'm not here to tell you, because I know what some Black women say, I'm not saying children are not a gift. They are a gift when you want them, you love them, and they're a gift to you. But it's better when it's done more correctly. Okay, so don't come up in here with that, okay? So this is not a video to scare you or anything like that, but we need to have a very real discussion, because just sitting back and looking at the effery going on, the vitriol towards Black women who are single mothers, I decided to make this list. And I'm not anti-children again. So this video is for young teenage Black girls ages 15, even sometimes younger than that, to and up, especially, maybe 15 to 27 or something like that. Okay. Also, people will say certain things about marriage and stuff. Remember this: you can't make a man marry you, and men ask for marriage. So this is not a video where I'm going to just make it sound like just go get married. You can want to get married all day long. If a man doesn't ask you, you don't get married. And just because a man asks you for marriage doesn't mean he's the right one all the time that you should marry. Okay, that's why you date, to try to meet your soulmate and everything like that. Okay, so let's just get into it. I have my little list on my phone. The reasons, it doesn't really matter the order of why having out of wedlock birth rates is ruining Black women's lives, and why y'all need to think a lot more about having kids and ending up a baby mama, okay? And y'all need to take this seriously, what I'm saying. Okay, number one, unable to build wealth. When you have a child, your life changes. Your life is going to change. Babies cost money. Child care. Because not everybody has a mother that wants to raise them kids. You gave birth to them, okay? I've heard of this a lot. This happens. Sometimes you're on your own. Diapers cost money. If you're not breastfeeding, formula costs money. Food for the baby costs money, plus the rent you're probably paying yourself. So yes, a lot of times you can't build wealth because you don't have any money. You're broke. All your money goes to the baby. So your life, it's not a game. A lot of you will not build wealth. Okay? You're a single mother. You have these kids, or a child, one child, children, whatever. And a lot of you are broke or struggling because you don't have enough money. You shouldn't have to get 3 jobs and hustling this and that just to make it. It's hard. So that's one reason. Another reason, a lot of you who have these children early, you don't even get to enjoy your youth. You don't get to enjoy your youth. You don't get to travel. You see all these traveling videos now of Black women seeing the world, not being bound just to America. That costs money. It costs money for a plane ticket, for hotel fare, for clothing, for the trip. And a lot of you want that life. You want to live. You want to live. And a lot of younger women from different races don't have these kids all the time, so early, all the time. And they live. You can't always live because you have babies to take care of. And what can you do? You don't have any money. You can't live your life. You can't always go to school all the time. Some of you are doing this, but you had help. You had your mother to help you. What if you didn't? So this is another reason. A lot of you don't get to enjoy your youth as young women, truly learning who you are, dating to find the actual love of your life. Because I said most of your baby fathers were not the one. You were not in love. You might have loved him. He might have loved you, but you're not in love with each other, which is why most of you are not married on average, because y'all were just dating, kicking it, whatever, had SCX, and you got pregnant. Okay? And before I even say more, if y'all don't want to keep having out of wedlock kids, you only have very few options. You are going to get on birth control. You're going to use condoms. You're going to be abstinent for I don't know how long, because how long is that going to really last as a young woman with hormones and everything like that? You're going to date other groups of men from other cultures, ethnicities, races, or whatever that believe in marriage. And then you have others who try to use you-know-what as birth control, which I don't agree with because it's dangerous and it's not a form of birth control. Okay, and birth control can even be dangerous sometimes and affect your menstrual cycle. Not always in the greatest way, things I've heard. But that's all it is. Those are your options, okay? So let's get more into it, all right? So I said you're unable to enjoy your youth. You're unable to travel. I've heard of mothers having that woman who just left for vacation for 10 days and came back and the toddler was gone because she wanted to live her life. And she was wrong for what she did. But that's the situation a lot of you are in. Y'all are going out partying and stuff, or having your mother or somebody in the family watch the baby because you want to enjoy your damn 20s and your youth, but you had a baby or babies. Okay, number 3. Blame by Black men for the failure of the Black community being better. I would have to question why a lot of Black women today would have a lot of out of wedlock kids with how you see Black men going in on Black women on podcasts, on TikTok, here on YouTube. They go in on y'all like nothing, like for being baby mamas. It's almost like a curse to them or something. So it's not even appealing to the so-called men of your community. So why on earth would you want to keep doing it? Just to get talked about? Just to be blamed for the failure? You ruin the community because you having these kids by men you're not married to and raising them by yourself. You're getting blamed for it. So why keep doing it? If you stop doing it, what could they say? Really? Okay. Number 4, blame for raising poor performing Black sons. They're blaming the Black mothers on how Black men are today. Lack of education, the way they look, the way they're dressing, how they treat Black women, how they don't want to find wives and all this stuff, and not being educated, not working. They said, hey, y'all Black women raised them. This is your product as single mothers. Y'all can argue. Y'all always argue with them. But what about the men? Y'all keep saying it over and over again, and they keep saying basically, we don't care. You raised them. We putting it on you. So take away that. If you stop doing it, then no one can say it's your fault anymore. And in some cases, it is true that some have raised terrible men. It's just the truth. But that problem can be alleviated if y'all would stop having these out of wedlock kids by them. The blame will no longer be on you for a lot of stuff. Yes, you stepped up. Yes, you didn't abort them kids, but you're being blamed for the results that's in with them. So do you really want this pressure on you? Do you really want to be blamed for everything? Okay. Number 5. You get called used goods or low value by Black men for having their children. Does that happen to, I saw this on another podcast. Does that happen to a Jewish woman? That's true. Does it happen to Jewish women when they have them kids? No. Does it happen to Hispanic women? They're not always married, Hispanic women. No. They get applauded for bringing more Hispanic children in the world. So it's sort of weird, though, how you get blamed for black children, but then when you keep them and have them, they also blame you for that, knowing that the man has to propose and step up for his wife. So at the end of the day, you're the one being blamed for everything. So if you cut it off and stop doing it, they can't say anything. Not only that, to be called used goods or low value for raising your children, or you're not. I mean, to be honest with you, when you're dating, a lot of men, not just black, look at that if you have kids, especially multiple kids by different men. Multiple kids by different men will never be a good look for a woman. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter what you try to do or what you say. It's just not. It's just not. Like three and up by different men. Men look at that. And you would too if you were a man. Just be honest with yourself. So, but I'm not talking about multiple kids with this all the time. I'm talking if you just have one child, they're calling you low value or used goods and all this other stuff. Ironically, a lot of these men are baby daddies. Make it make sense. It never does. Okay, but, whether you like it or not, this is what men say. A lot of black men especially, and a lot of you still date them. So I'm saying these things. If you don't want this to happen to you, then I would suggest you stop having these children out of wedlock. Okay. Number 6, your body possibly destroyed for a man that didn't even want you. Now, I don't usually like that word saying destroyed. I mean, women's bodies change when you have babies sometimes. Even if you don't have a baby, just gaining weight, stretch marks and all these things that come with these type of stuff. I've heard about women's private areas changing. I don't know. They sew you up after you have a baby. So, but I hear certain things. But ladies, I remember there was a woman on social media who showed the after effects of her pregnancy, something that happened to her body, and it was intense. And every woman in that comment section said, "Oh my God, I hope he was worth it. I hope that man was worth it. Did he marry you to go through that and have that happen?" And it made me think of this. You are giving life to a man's child. Your breasts are going to change, hurt. Sometimes the baby can almost rip off your nipple, breastfeeding, getting more stretch marks, having things happen to your vagina. Is he worth it? Ask yourself this. Is the guy you're dating, if he got you pregnant today, is it worth all that? Is it worth your body being stretched out, being pregnant for 9 months, waddling, having placenta, or just being on the table giving birth and you can almost lose your life? Is it worth it? Is he worth it? Is he? Because it is serious. Okay. Just like I said, number 7, the risk of, being unalived. Well, I shouldn't say that. The risk of passing away on the table. My mother always said, when you give birth, 1 foot is in the grave. So are you willing to possibly pass away to bring this guy's baby into the world? Sure, it's your baby too, but he put it in there and that's still his baby. Is he worth doing all this for? Because if he leaves you, a man can pack up and leave anytime, and you the one stuck with that baby. It's you. A lot of men have said this too, and it's true. He can do anything. He can leave anytime. So you better want that child, All right. Number 8, you're tied to a man through the bloodline and DNA forever. You really think just having a baby is some little thing? You're making a human. That means that no matter how he treated you, whatever he did, you're tied to him. You can't get rid of him sometimes. Not like you really would want to. You want the man to step up and be there for the baby. And of course, you would want to be with him. But what if he's terrible? What if he beat you up? What if he was just a terrible man and now you're pregnant? Now you are connected to him with the bloodline, the DNA. You are tied with him through this child forever. That's his baby. walk in the earth that he put in you. That's an honor. That's not a little thing. That's a big deal. So think about that. Okay, number 9, passing bad genetic traits to your kids from a very bad choice of man. Like I just said, he might have certain traits about him that your children might inherit. Even when it comes to his health, if he has some issues going on, he can pass that to your baby, certain stuff. Some stuff is not always as serious, but some stuff can be. But I'm talking also more about who he is as a person. He might be a terrible, maybe he's crazy, like angry, really angry and abusive. And then your son acts like that because that's what he acts like. You got to think about stuff like that. You're passing down, you're making another him, really. So you got to think about those things. Number 10, your life is stunted and made harder. Everything I just listed. Ladies, this is a bad question to ask. And I mean no disrespect for women who have children, because I know a lot of you love your children, as you should. But when you are a Black woman, with everything I just read, and there's more I'm sure I missed, you have to ask yourself, what is the benefit for you for having out of wedlock kids, usually by Black men? How is that benefiting you at all? Leave out that you love your child, you're a mother, you love looking at your cute little baby, you kept them, you love them. Overall, how does that benefit you in a community that blames you for the downfall for giving birth to them, that calls you a whore and used up goods? The men on podcasts saying don't date her because she had another Black man's baby? You're broke and they make fun of you, claiming your net worth is only $5 and you don't have any money because it goes to the children. You sacrificing, doing everything for your Black sons only for them to grow up and get on podcasts and say, don't deal with women who are like you. A lot, the list goes on and on. So, and then you get blamed as if you can make them marry you. You got a lot of Black women doing everything right and they still don't marry. And even if you do marry, then there's the issue about finances and providing, which a lot of them can't and won't do. So it's a lot of issues. That's a whole separate video. But ladies, what can you say? I want to know what you think about my list of why the top reasons why you need to really consider having these children, these out of wedlock kids. The dating market, you can't travel, your body, going through issues with your body, all these things. And it makes it even worse when you did all that, you sacrificed all that, you live a certain way. For a man, it didn't even work out usually, and it wasn't even always serious. You're not even in love with each other, or he didn't really want you. So how could that benefit you? And then you stuck with children by these men. Ladies, free yourself. It will benefit you. And if you want to date men from other cultures who believe in getting married before having children, and that's what you want, then do it. You don't have to play these games. You don't have to waste your time, and you don't have to stay stuck. Period. That's how I feel. So I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments section. And I can't wait to see what you have to say. Of course, there probably will be someone angry. There usually is. But it is what it is. I said what I said. And I thank you so much for joining me. You all take care. Bye. And protect your womb, ladies. And listen, it can happen to any of us. It can happen. No one's above anything. We're women. We have eggs. Sometimes you give in to a man that you really like and you have sex. But what comes with sex is the possibility of getting pregnant. And if you don't believe in the things I said to prevent that, then you're going to be having a baby. And that's just what it is. You are stuck with that child. Men can leave anytime. That is reality. And that's what's been happening. So let me know what you think in the comment section. You all take care again. Bye.